With
9/11.
with the game. Okay. A little dark turn.
Well, no, I'm just saying when we're,
Wow.
9/11 just happened. This video is getting posted Thursday. 9/11 was yesterday.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
Never forget.
Yeah, never forget.
Anyways, that's fine.
Awful.
Good evening, degenerates, and welcome back to another episode of DGen Hours. We are officially in the heart of college football.
Week 3, baby!
It's
Week
3, which means you've gone through week 0, 1, and 2. So we're almost a month in to college football.
We're
Right?
hitting our stride right now.
We're hitting the stride. We're feeling good. We're in
Daddy
Vegas
Long
watching
Legs
the games.
coming out.
Daddy Longlegs?
Daddy Longlegs.
Is that what they
hitting
call you?
stride.
That's what he calls Quinn.
No, I mean.
He calls Daddy Long
And
something else.
Saquon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he loves Saquon's
pretty weird.
long. Yeah, no.
Pretty weird.
Week 3 is here. We're in the middle of it.
Yes, sir.
Last week's records, throw it up right here. Everyone was pretty, decent. I mean, Ryan
decency.
above 500. I was above 500. Mike and Mario were just below 500. So it was pretty,
game below.
Pretty wash on the cards. Yeah. Overall records, Mike and Ryan tied at 52% in the season. I'm 50%. Mario 41%. That's
Yeah.
You know.
He said check back on me.
You're hitting the stride.
Well,
You're hitting your stride.
Yeah.
Just
Big
think
L
you're
for
striding in the wrong
LSU.
direction.
What?
big L for LSU.
Big L for LSU.
Yeah.
They won last week.
My God. Okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
They won last week.
Yeah, no, it's.
Because L for how bad his picks are, he's the worst picker.
And his
Yeah, then-
team
but
is
then-
LSU.
So you try to shit on Mario and his team.
And then give me a fist bump.
Yeah, he tried to
So
get the
might-
fist bump.
yeah,
sneak in the
why
fist
are you
bump.
guys so mean to me? You're not yeah, okay, yeah. Classic
no,
Mike started
we'll see.
off, but you're hitting your stride. Just maybe
Everybody's
not the right
back.
direction of stride.
Yeah, I'm like the Bengals. I start off slow.
Start off slow.
Yeah.
Big bounce back. Be ready for the bounce back.
Like
I
a
just,
treadmill.
yeah, when I hit my week 6, week 7, I'll just start,
But
firing
the most
off.
important aspect of the show is the Mortal Locks. And so these two are on fire.
Hot.
We're 3-1 on the week in Mortal Locks. You both are undefeated this season.
Boo!
I hit my Mortal last week with Navy absolute dog walking. And then,
Great pick.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Armed
very much.
Forces, shout out.
Thank you. And they might be my new Armed Forces team, by the way. That's the one I'm going with. Air Force looking
Air
bad.
Force sucks.
But
shout out
Ryan,
Kyle.
I mean, quickly, I want to just give you a sec. You're now 0-2 in Mortals after last year. You were the best picker on the show as you're tied for first now, but also really bad in Mortals last year. What's going on in Ryan land? You're in relegation watch. You use one more Mortal. You're wearing a cone for all the picks and you're out of the parlay.
No, yeah, I couldn't really tell you. It feels a little just like catching the wrong side of some bad picks or bad beats. I wouldn't go back on my picks. I still liked them. Very weird week last week with SMU. That game, there was a lot of stops inside the other team's red zones and
They
turnovers.
benched
And
quarterback after 2 drafts.
yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of just things that just didn't go my way. Unfortunately, happens. They were 11-point favorites. They were losing majority of the game, and they lost the end of the game. Yeah, it was a weird week. I'll bounce back this week.
You got
Pretty
it
easy.
because, there's 4 of us up here this year.
Yeah.
We've got to start hitting some of these parlays. And last week, I feel like we're in
the
a
time
good,
to do it last
we're in a
week.
good groove. I mean, the Mortals overall are 5-3 on the
Yeah.
season, with Ryan being 0-2.
Yeah.
So we're giving you out winners on average on these Mortal picks. We're doing our research, so we're gonna start hitting these parlays. I don't doubt that you're gonna bounce back. We saw you do it last
have a little
year.
doubt, but we'll
so no, this is a big week though. This is a big pivotal week.
Oh, I'll
You
get
win
it back.
Yeah.
This week, I won't go wrong.
Pivot!
Big pick this week. But yeah, I just want to get right into it. We got 3 big games I want to talk about, ranked matchups
yeah.
for most of them. The other one's just a really interesting matchup. And then, get in the cards and give out some Mortal Locks. Give you some more winners. So first game on the slate, big game. 2 ranked teams. Arizona at Kansas State matchup in the Big 12. Kansas State 7.5-point home favorites. Total 58.5. Ryan, I'm going to start this one with you. You're pretty high on both these teams.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah,
Love
so
both
what
of them.
do you see in this game?
Surprisingly, as much as this hurts me to say, I'm very worried about Arizona. They looked god awful last week. And don't get me wrong, Kansas State didn't look great
Against NAU, right?
against Tulane.
Yeah, too late.
But it
I
was
was saying Arizona.
yeah,
said they looked bad against
Arizona
NAU.
looked
Yeah.
Arizona looked terrible, and because it was against NAU, Kansas State had to go in Tulane. Tulane's always been a tough game. Wasn't as worried. Even last year, Tulane I think was ranked for.
They're a
part of the year.
scrappy team.
Yeah, they finished around that 30 spot, so I wasn't really crazy, but they got the job done. Kansas State did. Arizona just hasn't looked great.
Yeah.
Fifita has not looked like the guy I thought he was last year. This is the chance for him to prove me wrong, but I got to go with Kansas State. I mean, -7.5 at home. I think I want Arizona to prove me right. It's kind of like a free hedge for me.
Yeah.
Prove me right. Fifita was crazy. McMillan didn't look great last week either. So a lot of work to do. I love the -7.5, and I love the under. I think for some reason, I just don't think these offenses are clicking, and I think it's going to continue that way in a ranked matchup. It'll be a good game. So, like, under, but I'm going to edge on the side of Kansas State minus 7.5.
Yeah, I'm edging the opposite way, and I'll tell you why. None of these teams have impressed me this year. I watched, Arizona beat New Mexico and Northern Arizona. There's nothing in either of those games that impressed me besides just McMillan being the best receiver in the country, which I think he is.
T-Mac.
I don't know after last week.
He's unbelievable. And Kansas State really hasn't done anything to impress me. I didn't think they were that great to start the year preseason, and then last week beating Tulane by 7, like you said. I just think both these teams are pretty similar. I don't think either defense is that fantastic. Both offenses can score, but they in spots haven't looked great. So I'm not saying Arizona wins this game, but outside of a touchdown, give me the dogs here. So I like the not the dogs. Give me the underdogs. Give me the Wildcats
Give me the
plus
dogs.
7.5.
To be completely honest, I just haven't really been keeping up with a Big 12 team like Kansas State. And
Your old home? You don't keep up with you don't look back at your old home?
No, I am.
You just leave
it's
your
full-
ex-girlfriend in the dust and you never look
100%,
back?
never look back. I have a New Jersey on the way with an SEC patch. Don't worry.
So the Big 12.
And our DKR 100-year memorial patch as well.
Did you actually order a jersey?
Yeah,
For who?
for Arch. After
I mean,
week one.
there's nothing greater
After
than
week one.
having
Wearing the Quinn jersey,
the backup
smiling. What'd
quarterback
you order?
smiling with Quinn Ewers on
The
the
backup.
shirt.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry, keep going.
don't
Kansas
worry.
State. You have
It's my future product for
Future
the
investment.
next couple
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to what we were talking about. I less than taking a side, I much more have the over, and the reason why is because Kansas State beating Tulane 34-27. In my opinion, that tells me their defense isn't phenomenal. Arizona, as we've talked about before, is really, really explosive. Granted, they only put up 22 against Northern Arizona last week, but
not like it last
again, if Kansas State is allowing 27 from Tulane, what can Arizona with two top prospects in their respective position can do? So I am more than taking a side, taking the over 58.5.
We've just given out every side on that game. Ryan gave you Kansas State in the under. I gave you Arizona, and Mike gave you the over. So Mario might
Under.
be the tiebreak here.
There's got to be some consensus
Yeah.
with someone. Nope, there's going to be a tie, and
Mario's taking all sides.
I'll push.
Yeah.
I'll push.
I got to hit something. So, no, this game's a weird one. I'm just going to go with the home team, Kansas State. Arizona didn't look good last week. I don't know if it was just a one-off thing or if they're kind of in a little funk and they just kind of need to find their stride. Part of me feels like it's the latter, which I don't think you're going to find your stride going on the road at Kansas State. I think that's kind of a tougher game. So, there could be a lot of points scored. I'm not really sure. If anything, I'm for some reason feeling a little under here. But I'm going to go with Kansas State minus 7.5.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. So there's a little tiebreak there. Next game, Mario, and we're starting with you for a reason. You got LSU at South Carolina.
Oh,
South
Lord.
Carolina is not ranked, but they are 2-0. LSU is ranked, but they're 1-1. We obviously talked
Tigers.
about what happened against USC in week
one.
one. LSU 7.5 point road favorites here. Total's 50.5, a lower total than we've seen with a lot of LSU games.
Yeah.
And Dylan Stewart, I think this is the reason for that. The outstanding defensive end for true freshman,
freshman, yeah.
for
Crazy.
South Carolina looks like one of the scariest
He's
players
insane.
in all of the country.
Yeah.
Unblockable, and South Carolina may have found themselves their next, Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett type player. So, Mario, when you look at this game from an LSU standpoint, do you think you're going to be able to outscore this South Carolina team? Because I know their defense has been playing out of this world.
Yeah.
Especially against what they did with Kentucky last week.
I know it's a little worrisome. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm still going to take us on the spread. I'm afraid to bet the over just because I feel like it could be kind of like a scrappy game, similar to like Nichols last week, where
What the world? There's no universe where a team named Nichols should be in a game
Don't
with
sleep on
LSU.
Nichols.
They
Hey,
were in a
that-
game with LSU
Dude,
last
that
week.
was-
I mean, dude, they're down the street. I'm sure they had a lot of Tiger Stadium had some Nichols fans. In there,
Yeah.
They were blending in.
Yeah, but I don't know. It could be just kind of like a weird situation. We're still favored 7.5, which is like to me is my only like vote of confidence for this game
Yeah.
because, I mean, if we were like 2.5 or 3.5,
Then
like
it's scary.
then
hours.
it'd be
Yeah.
really scary. So 7.5, I think we pull out the win. I just think our offense is better. Our defense isn't anything spectacular, but I think they can hold off South Carolina enough. Obviously, every protection and everything's just going to be focused on Dylan Stewart.
Yeah.
So, you shut him down and then give Nussmeier some time. I mean, he's looked good this season. He hasn't looked anything crazy good, but like he's looked like he can take care of a South Carolina good.
Yeah.
So
Like
give
that.
me the spread. I'm not going to take a total.
Mike?
It feels weird to not be picking LSU here. So, giving it away, I'm going South Carolina. The reason why is they won last week as road dogs in Kentucky,
Beat the f*** out of
which
Kentucky.
Yeah.
is really impressive considering it was an in-conference game. And then,
I'm relatively surprised they're not ranked. They're right on the edge of
I-
being ranked. but
I kind of
I'm
agree with that
surprised.
too.
as well.
Yeah.
just a fun little kind of stat that I found as well. Pre-snap going into that game, ESPN gave Kentucky a 70.6% chance to win the game. And obviously they ended up getting their ass handed to them. And South Carolina is now, LSU is 51% supposed to win the game in this matchup. So, I think it's kind of fun. It's a little bit
Talking
closer.
like Tom Brady over there.
Yeah, I'm stuttering and can't get my words out. But sorry, shout out to GOAT. But anyways, I think South Carolina comes back home with a lot of momentum, coming off a really big SEC win and playing another SEC game against a team that, we've seen be in battles that they might not should have been in to begin with.
Should have been it.
Might not.
Something like that. Grammar's
well,
hard,
could have
English is hard.
but
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
anyways,
we're not covering.
I
There's
more
no-
so I just don't have faith in Brian Kelly to actually, coach this well
Bingo.
it's a great
and actually defend against Dylan Stewart, who, we haven't seen Nussy under that much pressure, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, so I have the dead read in this game. I know this South Carolina team like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I've seen this start of a season a million times. Don't get me wrong, Dylan Stewart looks fantastic.
Gamecocks.
South Carolina will have to pay him $10 billion to stay on that roster next year and not get poached by Georgia, LSU, Texas, Alabama, etc. But it's going to come down to quarterback play, and South Carolina's quarterback is miserable. I don't know if you guys have watched
Yeah,
it.
bro.
He has goggles. He has no peripheral vision. He has, literally, he wears sports goggles that go to here, and I've seen so many, people on Twitter analyzing this where he has got sacked from people you should see, but he has no peripheral vision because these fucking goggles.
love that.
He's thrown for 273 yards in 2 games. So this guy's not good. He's in LSU's defense, isn't fantastic, but they did play their losses against the Miller Moss led USC offense, which is Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
So I never really hold a candle to stats that Lincoln Riley offenses put up against you because they're always going to do well regardless. But this is a total. These two teams could not have opposite public perceptions right now. LSU lost to USC in a game they were favored in, and then went and kind of struggled against Nichols. South Carolina has way overshot expectations this year and has a player that everyone's talking about, which they usually don't have. So I think this line should be way bigger, actually. I think LSU just handles them. I don't think it's even going to be a close game. I love LSU in a blowout here, even though they, South Carolina killed Kentucky. This is what they do. Their quarterback's not good, and they're going to need to score points to keep up. So I don't think they do it. I like. I'm not taking a side on a pick on the total because I think there's a decent chance LSU wins 30-14, and so the under hits, or they just blow them out like a 44-17 game. But I think it's a big win for LSU, so I love the spread.
Yeah, I just as much as I loved LSU last year, I just don't see that team that you're talking about that could blow out anyone, to be honest.
Same.
I just think that this South Carolina, if you have a defensive team like South Carolina going to this game, LSU isn't good enough on offense to beat them, blow them out. So I'm just going to take the plus 7.5. I think it'll be close. LSU could win by 10, don't get me wrong. But I don't think at any moment this will be a blowout because of how rough LSU's offense look. I mean, if you slow down Kyron Lacey, I have
It's
no
game
idea
over.
what's going to happen for LSU. The run game is mediocre to nothing, and Garrett Nussmeier's he's average. He's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
He's been playing very average. I think he could be playing a little better, but I just think in South Carolina this is a tough game. And once again, LSU just prove it to me, and I'll be fine. I'm betting on the team that's prove it to me.
Yeah, I think this is the week they do.
LSU. I mean, they're coming off a game against Nichols. I don't even know how you look at that film and then go to. I have no idea how you go from game to game like
that's
that.
why I like LSU, and I agree with you. Everything you've seen says South Carolina, But I think it's one of those. Nichols was a total. They know they're winning the game. They came off a loss. They're not stoked to play. It's kind of like you're looking ahead to SEC competition. This is your last, non-conference game before you get an SEC match. I think, and everyone's already all over South Carolina. So I think this is an interesting spot. We'll see where the public money lands. But if you see a lot of bets coming on South Carolina, this line even gets to a touchdown or less, like you saw with the Texas game at 6.5. This is I don't know why, but just gut feel mortgage the house play.
Damn.
But I could totally see South Carolina, like you said, if it keeps up.
Well, it just depends on if we're just wrong about LSU.
Yeah.
If they're just a mediocre team.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I think they're better than what they're showing.
Yeah,
a lot better.
An SEC team that
I just don't have faith in Brian Kelly. But
yeah,
I would love for them to prove it to me.
we'll see. I hope they do.
Praying for
I'll
us.
definitely be betting
I'm
it.
praying.
But an SEC team that has covered in both their games and allowed 0 points against them this year
Shazoo.
is Missouri. Yep, the Mizzou. Hosting Boston College.
My
a team
mortal
that
last
is-
week.
Yeah,
Hey.
great mortal.
Wow.
Backdoor cover there.
Holy 30 seconds left.
Never
Yeah.
sweat.
It was
Missouri,
never.
Missouri's minus 16.5 against Boston College, a team that's now undefeated and ranked.
Yep.
Exceeding all expectations for this team.
Shout out Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, the total is 54.5. I'll start on this one. Like I said, Missouri has looked fantastic. They shut out Murray State and Buffalo 51-0 and 38-0 in back-to-back weeks. Boston College, on the other hand, has also really, really looked fantastic. They went into FSU. FSU's not good, so, whatever. They're ranked,
still-
they're ranked at the time.
still beat the shit.
Went into
Yeah.
Florida State, sold out arena, and won 28-13 in a
Huge.
dominant ground game. And then followed it up with a 56-0 win against a bad Duquesne team.
Duquesne!
So,
Shout out Duquesne.
Duquesne's in the same bucket as Murray State for me, so I threw both those games away. 51-0 and 56-0 against Murray State. Duquesne throws away. But Buffalo's, they exist. They're fine, whatever. And then FSU's tougher. I'm honestly more impressed with this Boston College team than Missouri,
Yep.
from where I thought they would be. If that makes sense. Missouri is a better team for sure
Yeah.
than Boston College. But Boston College looks like probably the most impressive team, like from where the expectations were to where they are now in the entire ACC. You could say, Miami, but a lot of people, including me, had Miami, as one of the favorites. Boston College is in the mix. They're, first in the ACC right
Crazy.
now, and they're looking very good. So this is a spot I think will tell us a lot about both teams. The spread's huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 16.5.
I'm not confident in this pick, but I'm taking Boston College plus 16.5 to keep it a close-ish game. Missouri wins 10-13. Totally fine with that. I see a world where Missouri just walks over and blows them out. Even maybe like a shutout, like 28-0 or something. But Boston College's quarterback really impressed me in the Florida State game, and they just ran up the score last game. So I think this is going to be a fantastic football game. This is actually the game I'm most excited to watch, even though the spread's the widest, because I think this can have a lot of interesting combos. Boston College, pulls a road upset here.
That'd be
All of a sudden,
crazy.
it's like that'd be really cool. I don't think it happens, but I'm definitely taking the underdog plus the points here. It's too many points for me. Missouri can just go out and walk over and prove it to me, though they've covered both games. So maybe they do it again.
Yeah, Missouri's offense has a couple questions to answer. I think they've looked very slow, personally speaking. I know they've shut out both teams, and their defense was doing a lot.
Yeah.
But Luther Burden, I know he was sick in the second half of last week, has been invisible this year as a player. I know he has 2 touchdowns, but they were 4-yard runs. I just think that
Pretty funny.
he doesn't look good. Brady Cooks looked all right. I think they still have a lot of work to do to get back to that offense of last year that was hanging with the LSU offense.
And this is
9
the-
touchdowns on the year.
But they
That's
played
not
no
all
one.
right.
They played no one.
I mean, they're playing
Yeah,
no one, and
that's-
also
This
I
is
mean, true,
also,
that's true.
you're talking quickly, I don't want to interrupt you, but Missouri allowed 0 points against them. Boston College has only allowed 1 touchdown against them in both games.
No,
So
yeah.
this is the first
Real
game
test,
they're
yeah.
playing this season.
Yeah, I'm going to take the points plus 16.5 here. I just think Boston, it's just too big for a team that I just don't think Missouri's going to score that much. I don't think they're going to hit that 31 number, and I don't think Boston College is scoring less than 15, 16,
Yeah,
So
they've
that's the
been
way
moving.
I'm looking at it. And I actually really like the under in this game. I think these defenses have shown, obviously, that they can hang. And, I mean, Missouri's not going to get blown out in this game, and Boston College's defense showed they could slow down teams. So I like the under 54.5, and I mean, the points inside is just too
Yeah,
easy
I'd
here.
lean under as well, but I'm not taking it total. But I'm with you on
Yeah.
the team plus the points.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat too much about what Tyler and Ryan said, but just a quick stat because, I love to throw stats
Big
out here.
stats.
Big stat guy.
Boston College, again, after playing Duquesne and FSU, who's shit, they have the 15th best pass defense in the nation right now, which is really impressive. And so, with that being said, again, not going to repeat too much, but Boston College plus 16.5 and the under here.
Oh,
Bang.
wow. We're kind of aligned over here. Mario, are we making this a consensus?
Absolutely.
Wow. There it is.
Yeah, making it.
I actually love that for a consensus pick.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Took off the Missouri last week and flipped right on this week.
Yeah,
show you
no,
that. Show
Missouri
you that.
was my mortal last week. Watched a little bit of their game, and when they're in spots, kind of what Ryan said about their offense, like looking slow. When they're in spots where they know they're gonna win, they're like a lot more like they're last year they were going for points. This year they're just like waste the game clock, run the ball, end
Yeah.
the game. Like they honestly got kind of lucky with my cover last week for the
sure.
mortal, but you know they took out Brady Cook and all the starters before the fourth quarter, and they were just running the ball. Like so, I see a world where Missouri's just better. They're up 10 points, 14 points, and they're kind of just like manage
Run it
the
out.
game, run it out, and yeah, I think Boston College stays within the number.
All right, well there you
Love
have
it.
it.
That's
For the
sharp.
last
Love it,
last
love it,
marquee
love
game
it.
of the week, we got a consensus, and I love when it's consensus and you get plus a bunch of points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you. That's usually pretty
More
good.
than
far.
2 touchdowns
Yeah.
is so good.
All right, you know what? Let's talk some more games. Let's get into the card.
Cards.
All right, we got our cards now. Mario, tough start to the year on the cards, but this is a big bounce back week. Let the people know how you're bouncing back.
Bounce
Yeah.
back.
Not I'm downsizing a little bit.
Good.
Hey.
Not a fan of the slate, but these are
Cut
all
the
the
building
picks.
down.
Yeah, exactly what Mike said. With
9/11.
with the game, okay,
Okay.
a little dark turn.
Well, no, I'm just saying when we're,
Wow.
9/11 just happened. This video is getting posted Thursday. 9/11
Wow.
was yesterday.
okay.
Rest in peace.
Never forget.
Yeah, never forget.
Anyways,
Wow.
that's fine.
Awful.
Uh,
That was the worst one yet.
Starting with the games we already talked about, I'm going LSU minus 7.5. No pick on the total, and then Boston College plus 16.5.
Consensus.
Consensus pick. Now for the rest of my card, I got Washington State over 55.5.
Every week bet Washington State over.
No, it's so much
It's the
fun.
LSU of last year.
Yeah,
They
no,
score
the-
a million.
What's their quarterback's name?
I forgot. It's like
Josh.
Mearden or Morden or something.
Mirta.
No. Anyways, Josh is a beast. I know his first name's Josh.
Intern
Shout
Johnson.
out
Look
Spanish
up.
Intern
people.
Johnson.
Washington State's quarterback.
Oklahoma minus 13.5 against Tulane. I think it's a bounce back week for Oklahoma. I got Utah minus 21.5 versus Utah State and the under 46.5 because Utah State cannot score. Ole Miss minus 23.5 against Wake Forest. Texas minus 34.5 against UTSA.
Hook 'em.
I got Georgia minus 24.5 against Kentucky. And Indiana minus 2.5 versus UCLA. I was just convinced to make that pick. Added it to my card. And finally, Colorado, I
Wow,
betrayed
that's
you.
short.
But we're back on Colorado.
Oh,
minus 7.5
Lord.
against Colorado State. Bounce back week for the
Oh,
Buffs.
Lord.
So you're saying that's why they lost last week?
Because Shador.
Yeah, should know.
No, but this week is Shador.
All right.
It's John Matier. Or Matier, that's his name. Matier, however you want to say it.
I
It
thought
do-
that's the running back.
Mirta.
No,
John,
that's
Intern
quarterback.
Johnson. Look up his
It's John
quarterback, Washington
Matier.
State.
No, that's the
Michael,
running back.
Let's hear the
Trust
card.
me.
All right. So, getting into your card, going over the games that we already talked about.
John
Ha-ha.
Matier.
I'm
John
sharp.
Matier. I knew.
John
I always
Matier.
knew.
John Batista.
No.
That's your guy.
No, I don't know who that is, actually.
It's your backdoor favorite.
You
Go ahead.
always call. Oh, never mind.
Nope. All right.
Go ahead.
Anyways, into your card. Games we already started talking about. Arizona, Kansas State, over 58.5.
Bang.
South Carolina, plus 7.5 against LSU. Sorry, Mario, down with the Tigers. Boston College, plus 16.5 going against Mizzou. Fuck you, Mizzou. Hook 'em, Texas, minus 34.5 against UTSA. War is not over. Job ain't done. Job ain't finished. Let's
Job's
go.
been finished.
Bama, minus 15.5 going against Wisconsin. Cheese. Go cheese yourselves. Bama,
Shit.
Wisconsin, over 50.5. Miami, shout out Cam Ward, minus 36.5 against Ball State. Oregon State, love this line. Absolutely love this line. Hammer it. Plus 16.5 going against Oregon. Oregon is frauds. Iowa, minus 22.5 going against Troy. Down with Troy, just like the city. Utah State, plus 21.5 against Utah. Utah, their offense doesn't like to score this year. 21.5, 2 main points. Ole Miss, minus 23.5 against Wake Forest. Forest is going to burn. Colorado State, plus 7.5 against Colorado. Nobody on Colorado wants to play for Shador. Shador is going to die.
Another one.
Nope. Air Force, plus 15.5. Shout out Kyle, friend of the pod, going
friend
against
of the
Baylor. Georgia, Kentucky, over 45.5. Points.
Okay.
And Tennessee, minus 49.5, going against Kent State, if you're not Clark Kent, you shouldn't use the last name Kent.
Fair enough.
Or the name Kent. At
Shout
all.
out Smallville.
Yep. Bang.
I'm feeling good because a lot of those picks you just said are on my card, and you're tied for first in our standing. So hopefully we keep
Bang.
this up.
I'm a
Starting
winner.
the card the same way I do every week, even though they look like fucking hot ass. Air Force plus 15.5
Woo, the
at
Force.
Baylor. Shout out Kyle.
Friend of the
Arizona
pod.
plus 7.5. LSU minus 7.5. Boston College plus 16.5. Now
Consensus.
games. Yep, consensus pick. NC State minus 21.5 at home against Louisiana Tech. Huge bounce back week for NC State right here.
I don't know if they have enough bounce.
They definitely do.
What?
This is one of my favorite picks of the week, and you're all going to laugh at me for it. But FSU minus 6.5 at home against Memphis, I am obsessed with. FSU's terrible. They're really
fine
bad.
with that.
And Memphis is
They're not
also
that
really
terrible.
bad. But I think FSU just stomps on them. Like, this is another one of those 6.5, 7-point spreads. That's a 30-point win. So I don't know how they get that many points because their offense is terrible and DJ sucks, but somehow FSU kills them.
FSU.
Another team that's just absolutely rolling right now, Miami, minus 36.5 at home against
More.
Ball State. This is just bet this. Just bet this.
Do it.
Pitt plus 2.5 at home against West Virginia. I have turned the tides on West Virginia. I'm never betting on them. They're trash. Pittsburgh, underdogs. I freaking love that, especially as home dogs. Oregon State plus 16.5 against Oregon at home. Yeah, this is another one of those home dog spots. Oregon's look terrible. They just can't beat teams or pull away with any leads or string touchdown drives together. And they're, over 2 touchdown favorites on the road. So against a rival. This is Oregon State easy.
Not gonna win.
Washington State plus 4.5 at Washington. They win this game and the over probably hits. I'm not taking over here unders because I'm not very good at those. I've just been looking back at my picks. Those usually don't hit. But if you're taking a side or total, take the over there. Iowa minus 22.5 at home against Troy. Bounce back week for Iowa. I thought they should have won last week. Iowa State played a good game. It was always close with those guys, but they bounced back and murdered these Troy frauds. Colorado State plus 7.5 against Colorado. Easy bet. Georgia minus 24.5 at Kentucky. This Kentucky team is bad. Like really bad. Like almost Vanderbilt level bad in the SEC, the second worst team in the SEC. So Georgia
That's bad.
just absolutely walks over them. And the last pick on the card, Ole Miss minus 23.5. The forest is burning, as Mike said.
I love the
Bang.
Forest.
Down
I love
with the
that. Mike
Forest.
Sharp. All right, Kansas UNLV over 57.5 to start. Kansas State minus 7.5 for Arizona. South Carolina plus the 7.5 for LSU. Michigan minus 22.5 against Arkansas State. I think they bounce back here. Illinois minus 19.5 for Central Michigan. Illinois has been killing teams. I think they won by like a trillion billion points or something.
I believe that was the score.
Yeah, it was
Trillion billion.
Memphis, Florida State over 52.5. I do think Florida State bounces back and scores a lot of points. I just can't trust DJ anymore. Lost it. NC State minus 21.5 for Louisiana Tech. Bounce back week. North Texas, Texas Tech over 68.5. And North Texas team total over 27.5. North Texas scores a billion points every week. It's free. Boston College, Missouri under 54.5. I think it'll be a tight game and a lot of defense. Oregon State plus 16.5 versus Oregon. It's one of those things I'll bet every week until Oregon covers the spread. I mean, Oregon just doesn't look like Oregon. Florida, Texas, A&M under 46.5. Both these teams I think are mid, and I think they won't score anything. Minnesota minus 16.5 versus Nevada, another team that's been covering a lot and winning big games. One of my favorite picks, Washington State, Washington over 55.5, and Washington State team total over 24.5. John Mateer, however you want to say it.
John Mateer.
That guy could throw a fucking rock. West Virginia Pitt over 60.5, lots of points. App State, East Carolina over 58.5, more points. Utah minus 21.5 for Utah State. Again, Utah State just got murdered by USC. They won't score a point. Ole Miss, Wake Forest over 63.5, and Ole Miss team total over 40.5. Hopefully the Forest burns again.
Yep.
South Florida minus 11.5 for Southern Miss. Indiana minus 2.5 for UCLA. Shout out Intern Johnson. His team at school, they suck. They're going to get murdered. TCU, UCF over 62.5 with TCU team total over 29.5. Shout out Josh Hoover. If you don't know yet, he's a dog quarterback, one of my favorite quarterbacks in college football. He's crazy. You'll see. Tennessee minus 49.5 against Kent State and the over 62.5. And sadly, unfortunately, my last pick of the card, how I don't end every fucking card, BYU minus 10.5 versus Wyoming because SMU doesn't play this week.
Oh,
So that's okay. I'm not off my SMU,
Are you
but
still
they don't
betting
play.
SMU after?
Oh, 100%.
What they? Okay, wow.
It happens. You
That's-
you
that's
can't just
fair.
go off. They won like
That's fair.
17 in a row. You can't just.
All right, and before we get to the Mortal Lock Parlay, everyone's favorite part of the show, crappy picks of the week for the intern.
Shout out Intern Johnson.
They're 0-2 so far,
Yeah.
but we have to keep giving them because that's how
I mean,
we do
they're
things
still
around
crappy,
here.
so.
Mario, tell us what Intern Johnson's crappy pick.
All it takes is one.
All right, all it takes is one.
That's not true.
Let's bounce back after this 0-2 start. Crappy pick of the week this week is
Drum
roll. Cincinnati, Miami, Ohio, under 45.5.
Yeah, that's shit.
I mean, that is the dog of shit. And under, so there's no points.
That's,
I love that.
I mean, it has to hit.
I love that.
Under
I don't even
45
wanna
and a
root
half.
for that.
That's actually, I might be on the over, so that's, I'm going to take that off my card.
Yeah. All right.
Erase it. Flip
Erase
it.
it.
Well, all right. Now we're at the part of the show that everyone tunes in for. The reason you guys want to get paid, and we want to get paid too. So if you're subscribed to the channel and you just drop a like and comment on the videos, you're automatically entered into this parlay, free
money.
roll. We put money on it. We parlay our 4 immortals. If it hits, we give away $1,000.
Should've hit last week.
One person. It should have hit last week. Us 3 hit. Ryan, is like we said in the beginning of the show, off to a shaky start with Mortals, but we're bouncing back this week. Ryan, this is a big pick for you.
Not really.
All right. Well, if it's not a big deal,
Pressure makes diamonds.
pressure makes diamonds. Let's hear what the diamond pick of the week is. Diamond pick of the week.
This is the diamond pick of the week. And after hearing your cards, you guys are going to orgasm on it. Unless you just
Okay.
flip because I'm terrible.
I'm flipping.
That's fair.
I'm kidding.
I'm not going to say anything. I don't deserve to say anything. But all I'm going to say is Iowa minus 22.5 against Troy.
bang! I love that.
Love that.
I love it.
Nothing
Love
to
that.
it. That's it.
All right, there we have it. My mortal lock is not in college, so I had a college
Oh.
mortal
Woo-hoo.
lock. I loved it.
Have you never made an NFL Mortal Walk before?
I did.
Yeah,
I
and
jumped
this-
over last year and I lost,
Oh.
so I went back.
I'm just kidding. Forget what I said.
So now that I'm
Back to
hot in
the
college,
roots.
I'm jumping over to NFL because I saw a line that is so broken, it shouldn't even be allowed to be bet. The Dallas Cowboys minus 6.5 at home against the New Orleans Saints is the freest line I have ever seen in my entire life. When I talk about mortgage the house, I'm not talking one house. I'm talking all the houses.
everything you own.
Buy a block.
We watch the
Sell the
Saints
block.
play a high school team and win. And we
Oh,
watch
God.
this all the time with these teams when they play bad teams. Everyone just goes, "Oh my God, they're amazing! Look at how they're off it." No, dude, you played the Panthers. You're bad. Cowboys, actually a good team.
The Panthers
this
worse
should-
than Michigan.
Can I just,
Sorry.
Can I just go? No, this is gonna be such a destruction. It's Cowboys at home. I mean, Derek Carr on the road is just belligerent. This is mortgage the house. My favorite pick. I've never changed a mortal. I had a college pick. This is going to be my biggest bet of the season so far.
Wow.
Wow.
Game of the month.
Shout
Yeah,
out Mario.
sorry,
He doesn't
Mario.
know.
I don't need to know.
He
whatever.
doesn't know.
All right, we'll see.
Well, that's a little worrisome.
Yeah.
Anyways, going to the side of the table that's 2-0 for mortals. Let's stay hot, baby. 3-0
hot.
coming in. A line that is unbelievable. Shouldn't even exist. Bet it as soon as you can, as fast as you can, and with as much money and as much leverage as you possibly can.
Leverage.
This is unbelievable. Georgia minus 24.5. Going into Kentucky, the absolute broken Kentucky.
Let's
They're
go.
a shit program. They're not ready for this SEC conference as a whole.
They're not
They're
ready.
just, they got dog walked by a bunch of South
The way you
Carolina
said that was beautiful.
Tar Heels and
Wait, what?
or no,
Gamecocks?
Gamecocks.
do you
Even
forget about the
worse.
Cocks?
No, even worse. Yeah, the Bulldogs are gonna bulldog them.
Tar Heels.
They won.
Bulldog's going to rip up that Mike.
I don't know about that one, but they won last week by 45 points. They beat Clemson by 31 points. I see no sign of them slowing down and losing by anything less than 35 points. Alt spread this if you want, but Georgia minus 24.5 is so easy.
I saw that number and I was like, what the f?
Yeah,
It is
love,
so
Like,
free.
It
Love
is
that.
free.
So free.
love that.
Should be murder.
All right. My mortal this week. There's a little mix up with the mortals. I had Georgia minus 24.5.
Bang.
We have someone that's not one of us four check our
Yeah, in
mortals.
production.
By the way, that's how
And-
sharp they are. They're both undefeated. And, they picked
And
the same
that was
player.
my mortal. Mike
about 60
actually,
picks.
Mike had a different pick. We discussed. Mike made me change.
I mean,
so
we decided together, but sure.
yeah, we decided. So Mike has the Georgia minus 24.5. Big fan of that pick. I had to. I'm not a fan of college this week. I flipped to an NFL pick.
Flippity flop.
I've been as bad as it gets when it gets with
Flippity rickety
NFL.
rock.
So let's hope this one hits.
Oh, wow.
My mortal this week is going to be the 49ers minus 4.5 against the Vikings.
I
Let's
love
go.
that. I fucking
Let's
love that.
go.
I literally love
Love
that.
Another weird
that.
line.
That is
These two
amazing,
just blowouts
unbelievable.
in the NFL, and then we get two lovely college picks. Let's
Easy.
just get, I
Easy.
love this
Let's
so
go.
much.
I mean,
That's a hell of a parlay.
Let's go, boys.
How
Let's
the
go.
hell-
Let's
hell
start paying
of
the
a
viewers.
parlay.
Let's start
Let's
Let's hit
paying.
it this week.
If those 4 picks hit, you have Iowa, you have the Cowboys, you have Georgia, and you have the 49ers. A lot of good teams.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good teams.
Oh, yeah.
Those all cover. then we're paying someone $1,000. All you have to do, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. So
Easy.
pretty easy. That's the college show. We're talking NFL tomorrow, so tune in for that. A lot of good NFL action coming up this weekend. Before people leave the channel and go ahead and enjoy the rest of their day, Mario, go ahead and make these bets. Tell them what they should do. We already gave them a little hint, but remind them.
Yeah, if you don't know by now, what are you doing? You need to subscribe to this channel, leave a like, leave a comment, talk to Mike, say horns down. Just
don't say
put it back
that.
in his place. Or maybe
Say
horns
we're
down.
gonna
horn
win the
down.
natty.
Horn sideways.
Say
Horn
I'll
on
meet
this-
you in Austin when we win the natty for the parade.
Like I said, put him back in his place. Turn that notification bell on. Share with a friend, and we will see you next week.
Bang! Have a good week, boys.